Hi, and welcome to another Teach Me to Code screencast. This is Charles Max Wood, and this week I'm going to be showing you how I'm generating a model generator for Sandra. So basically, to start out, what we need to do is we're in the folder that I want to be putting this in. If we do a bundle gem Sandra Rails, I'm actually going to create a new gem. So then if we open this up in Vim and put it over here, let's see. Whoops, I opened the wrong folder. Let's try this again. Sandra, CD Sandra Rails, and then Vim. There we go. So now we have the right folder. It's right here. We'll just make it go full screen. Increase the font size a little bit so you folks can read it. And you can see that there's a little bit here. I'm going to ignore the gem file for right now. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to edit this. So you can see that there are a whole bunch of fields here. Basically, it's just the information on the gem itself. So we'll go ahead and just manage this really quickly. So anyway, we've got Sandra Rails version. See, it's version 001. The summary is just going to be connect Sandra with Rails. And we're going to make the description the same thing. It's not on Ruby Forge, so I can probably ignore that. And anyway, I'm pretty happy with this the way it is. All this does is it just lists the files and then, you know, makes an array out of them. So the only other thing we need to have here is the dependencies. This is going to depend on Sandra. It's also going to depend on the railtie. Oh, those are development dependencies, so in fact, let's go ahead and just put this back the way it was. We're going to make these into runtime dependencies. Alright, so then the first thing that we need to do is we need to open up, let's just go ahead and close this. So we'll write that one, and then if we open up Sandra Rails, then what we need to do here is, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to require the railtie, because that's kind of the important thing, and that's all that's going to be there. So then what we can do is we can actually come over here and under this folder we'll just create the railtie.rb, and from here what we need to do is so the railtie is what ties into Rails, and really what it is it's a way of managing the configuration in your Rails app. So require Sandra, require Rails, require active model railtie. And then there was some information that seemed to indicate that active or action controller railtie. It was something else that we needed to require. So then what we do is we open up our module, Rails module Sandra, and then we set up a railtie. So it's class railtie, and it inherits from rails, railtie. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to configure it to use the ORM that we've got. So config.appGenerators.orm equals Sandra. And that's pretty much all we have to do in order to get it to use our new generators. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to generate or create our generators. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the generator here, and it's going to be in generators, I think generators, yeah, Sandra model. And then over here you can see that there's nothing there, but we're going to go ahead and create whoops. We're going to create in generators, Sandra model. We're going to create model generator.rb. And in here, what we need to do is we're going to go ahead. Oh, before we do this, let's go ahead and in generators here, what we want to do, or what I've seen done, and this is the model that I've decided to follow, is that whoops. Alright. So what I've seen done is you require Rails generators named base. Now, if you're not familiar with generators, named base means that it basically, when you do Rails generate model, the first parameter is a name and it's required. That's all that it really does. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and create a generators module under the Sandra gem. We're going to create a base class, and we're going to have it inherit from Rails generators named base. And what we're really going to do in here is all we really need is just to tell it where to find the templates. So we'll just go ahead and create Sandra source root, and we're gonna go with base name, and the base name is going to be Sandra because that's the generator that we're using. Basically, you can think of it when you do Rails G and you see, like, if you're using Haml, for example, you'll see ERB view, and so ERB is the base name and view is the generator name. So that's the kind of thing that we're doing here. We're going to add templates, and we're going to expand our own file. So that's the current location. So from here, what it'll do is it goes, let's go ahead and save this. So anyway, it lives just under generators, so it'll take the file name off, and so it'll be in generators, and then it goes Sandra model, and then it opens up the model. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and edit that model generator that I showed you before. So generators, Sandra model generator. And what we need here is we're going to require the generator Sandra that we just created, and that gives us our base class, right? So then we can, in our module, so this is all just namespacing stuff, but it's necessary for doing the ORM generation. So we're going to need it for our model. So we do a class model generator base, and then what we have here is we have arguments. So argument model key type string, and we're doing type string because we only want one key. We don't want multiple keys. So default, and so if they don't specify, we're just going to call the key. And so then we're going to take some attributes for the columns. And the banner just is for usage stuff. So then we're going to do a check class collision. Whoops. And what that does is it just makes sure that the model doesn't already exist. And then the final thing that we do is create model file. Oops, I left a quote off. So model.rb is the name of the file, and then is the name of the template, excuse me. And then what we're doing is we're telling it where to put it. So class path in this case is going to be blank because we're not providing any kind of class path or parent stuff to it, but the file name is something that we do need to provide here. So basically what that does then is it takes the file name, and remember this is named base in generator, so it takes that name that's passed as the file name and it sticks it in over here, and we should be good to go. In fact, I think we can just take this out. The way that I figured all this out was I actually went in and took the DM Rails gem and I just stripped a whole bunch of stuff out of it to see where it would fail and what I needed just to get this generator in. There was a lot more there, and I'm probably going to be studying that to figure out what it is, but anyway, we didn't need a whole lot of it. So anyway, the last thing that we're going to do is hook for test framework. So in other words, what we're going to do is we're actually going to generate a test file for all of our different generators. So now that we have this file, what we need is we need the template. And I haven't had a whole lot of luck with creating directories from Vim, so we're going to just create it from there. And basically what we do in the model template, oh, it doesn't exist, so we have to create it. So it's in generators, models, Sandra, models, templates, and we'll do model.rb. And then what we can do here is pretty much, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just use ERB to stick in the information that you need. So the first thing that we need is a class. And then and then we include Sandra, because that's how our models work in Sandra. We set up a key attribute, and the model key that we take, let's see, so generators, model, or Sandra, model generator. So we have model key right here, and the model key is actually a string, but it's the entire string that has the name and the type on it. So what we really need to do here is, over here we actually need to split this. So what we wind up doing is doing a model key.split, because I've decided that I'm actually going to put data types on each of the columns so that we can convert them back to their native types in Ruby. So anyway, let me close this window here. Whoops. So that we can see what we're doing. Model key.split, split on the colon, and then we just take the first one. And then the key attribute is also going to have a type, model key.split .last. And then we need to put our columns in, so columns.each do column, and then we're going to basically do the same thing with the column, except we set that one as type hash, so it comes in as an actual hash. So we're going to have a key and a value, and the key is column and the value is the type. So in this case we can do column, except we want these to be symbols. Type. And you can see that it thinks there are errors here. When I was doing this before, it worked fine. So anyway, I believe that's all we need. So let's go ahead and let's have a look real quick at, I have another project here. This one's the JotRod project that I was showing off in another episode. So basically what we're doing here is we're including Sandra Rails, and this JotRod project is in the same folder that the Sandra Rails gem project is in. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave this like this, and what we'll do is we'll go over to the JotRod project, and we will do Rails generate first, just to make sure that it's okay. So it's not finding the gem railtie. I must have let's see, rubygems.org. Okay, so there's one thing that I left off here, and that is, if I can get back to get back over here in the gemspec. It's the railties gem. And I think we can specify a version here. I'm just going to say greater than 3.0 or 3.0.0. I put less than or greater than? I did put greater than, okay. So then you can see here that all of the active record migrations, the session migration, observer model, and migration, aren't the defaults anymore. So then if we do a Rails generate model, let's say group, and we want the key to be name, and then we want all of the, what else do we want? Maybe created at date, time, error, Sandra not found. Okay, I was running into this before. Oh, that's the problem. We need the generators under lib. Alright, so this is something different. Undefined local variable column. It's in the template. So if we come over here, model.rb, little typo there. So then it tried to create the file, but it blew up. So anyway, then if we go ahead and look at in jotrod group.rb, you can see that it went ahead and created the key attribute name string, and we also have group spec.rb, describe group, pending, whatever. So anyway, that's pretty much it. That's all we need, and we'll wrap this up.
Need expert help with your Ruby, Rails, or Sinatra application? Give me a call. My phone number is 801-367-6164, or you can email me, chuck@teachmetocode.com. Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!